What's up, Jared over here? Today is the weekly setup review of AEW. This is the show, the AEW Dynamite before All In, when there's going to be 80-something thousand people there. The biggest pay-per-view in professional wrestling history, bigger than any WrestleMania, bigger than any Tokyo Dome, which is insane to even wrap your head around that. The AEW's done that, and they're not even a 5-year-old company. Absolutely crazy. But they started the show off with, it was supposed to be the Elite versus Bullet Club Gold. It was Juice Robinson and the Guns, but ended up turning into a brawl. Jay White, the match never even started. Bucks beating up the Guns, everybody going at it. But the main part that was in the ring was Jay White beating up Kenny Omega, but then Takeshita came out fighting Omega, going back and forth. Omega hit him with the V-trigger and went to go give him the one-winged angel, but Takeshita got out of the way and got out of it and ran away. But that's pretty much how they opened up the show. Okay, just starting off with a brawl. They tend to do that a lot, but it's setting up All In, which is important. After that was Jon Moxley versus Rey Fenix. Really good match. I thought it was like it'd be a disqualification because there's supposed to be a stadium stampede with the Blackpool Combat Club Claudio, Mox, and Wheeler Yuta versus Eddie Kingston, Rey Fenix, Pentagon Jr., Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Trent, which is 6. They're outnumbered by 3. Mox ended up choking out Rey Fenix, then Claudio, so Mox won. Claudio and Wheeler Yuta got in the ring with crowbars, beating him up, hitting the head, and he like out cold. Here comes Eddie Kingston, but somebody steps in his way. It's Ortiz. Ortiz is back. We haven't seen Ortiz in like 6 months, but then it's like because Ortiz hasn't been wrestling a lot because his brother Santana hasn't been wrestling at all because he's been gone over a year from injury. And I'm like, okay, so Ortiz is showing up because he used to be friends with Eddie Kingston. I'm like, that's kind of weird. But then Santana's music hit. Santana is back, and he is huge. Like, he's big and buff now. Like, he never was tiny, but I mean, like, he's thick now, like, just huge, and he's got, like, super long hair. Like, his hair is, like, really long. Now, Ortiz has the short buzz cut. Yeah, Santana's got, like, really long hair, and they cornered Eddie Kingston, and they started beating him up, and beating up, Pentagon, because Pentagon was out there, and then Best Friends came out with Orange Cassidy, but Blackpool Combat Club is teaming with Santana and Ortiz. Maybe they'll join the Blackpool Combat Club, which would be awesome. But then Rey Fenix was put on a stretcher because he was just unconscious, and he was put in the ambulance. Pentagon got in with him, and they left the arena. So the match ended up getting changed to a 5-on-5. It's Jon Moxley, Claudio, Wheeler Yuta, Blackpool Combat Club, and Santana Ortiz versus Best Friends, including Orange Cassidy. So it's Chuck Taylor, Trent, Orange Cassidy, Pentagon Jr., and Eddie Kingston. That match is going to be crazy. I don't know how the hell they're going to do it in a 90,000 seated arena. And there's like 80-something thousand people. It's going to be crazy. Can't wait for that. The thing that was after that was a contract signing between Chris Jericho and Will Ospreay. They had like a red carpet kind of thing in the ring. Had a signing, had Tony Schiavone in there. Will Ospreay first came out with Don Callis. There's a bunch of security guards in the ring. Jericho and Sammy Guevara came out together. And Jericho pretty much was saying how Will Ospreay should be thanking Jericho because years ago, when he was super reckless in the ring, Jericho called him, telling him how he has to change his wrestling, otherwise he's going to be in a wheelchair by 30. And Will Ospreay was getting mad about that. Will Ospreay was ripping on Jericho, just going back and forth, how it usually is. Had a contract signing in and not signing in. And Jericho got in his face. He's like, well, pretty much just ripping on him about, you're lucky that you're not in a wheelchair because of me. And then Will Ospreay tried to fight him. And then they ended up getting separated from the security guards and Sammy Guevara and everything. But overall, a good promo between them. Enjoyed that. After that was a women's match. It was Ruby Soho versus, I can't remember, some other girl. Boring. Next match was Darby Allin and Nick Wayne versus Swerve and AR Fox. Pretty good match, but Nick Wayne ended up beating AR Fox. He rolled him up and pinned him, and then Swerve got in the ring with his like henchman, like kind of guy. I always call him a henchman, like, or a manager, Jamaican guy. His voice is like, he always is like, because he's so tiny compared to the rest of the wrestlers. Like he's not like super short, but he's just not big. Or like last week when Sting was torturing him, man. Funny stuff. I'm really starting to like Swerve with this guy he's with, and Brian Cage. Like, I'm actually liking, how they're doing it, how they've been actually giving him TV time. I'm actually enjoying it. But they're in the ring. Swerve was like, you were beat by an 18-year-old boy that I absolutely destroyed. How? This was a test, and you lost. You failed. You lost to an 18-year-old boy. And he tells his manager, he goes, you handle my trash. He goes, AR Fox, you're fired. And then he turns around, Brian Cage absolutely freaking murders him with a clothesline, and AR Fox like flipped a million times. Brian Cage picked him up to some kind of crazy jackhammer thing, beating the holy hell out of him. And then Sting came out with Nick Wayne and Darby Allin. They started brawling, saving AR Fox, which I still feel like AR Fox is eventually ended up turning on Darby. Because he did also beat the holy hell out of Nick Wayne. It doesn't make sense because he literally wore the shirt that he had all the blood and everything from 2 weeks ago from like nearly murdering Nick Wayne. There was so much blood, which was nasty that he was wearing that. I'm like, how are they instantly just like, oh, okay, yeah, you're good. That didn't make no sense. But then Darby, AR Fox, Nick Wayne, and Sting are in the ring. They're like, we'll see you at All In. But he's like, you're outnumbered, Swerve. You don't have a tag team partner. Who's your tag team partner? That me and Sting are gonna take out Darby. And then Christian and Luchasaurus came out. And Christian probably cut one of the most brutal, no filter promos I think I've ever heard against Nick Wayne. He's like, Nick Wayne, I've heard you have a father. And the crowd's like, boo. Oh, it's right, your father's dead. I'm like, oh my God. He goes, also, I heard your father was a professional wrestler. Yeah, I've never heard of him. He must have been absolutely terrible because nobody's ever heard of him. And he just keeps on ripping on his father that's dead. And I'm like, oh my God, that is just brutal. And then announcing it's going to be Christian Cage and Swerve versus Darby Allin and Sting at All In, which will be an absolute awesome match. Because Swerve's really good, Christian's amazing, Darby's amazing, and Sting's amazing. That's actually I'm very excited for that tag match now. AR Fox was in mid, but Christian, oh yeah, W. After that was the Acclaim came out, not even no music or anything. Got in the ring, they were pissed off about House of Black always beating them up. And still a month ago when Billy Gunn retired, he took off the boots and everything because of the House of Black. And they were getting mad at House of Black, and the House of Black came out. They started beating up the Acclaim, and then the Acclaim music hits, and Billy Gunn's back. I guess he didn't retire. It was just all a trick. And he got on the mic yelling at House of Black, but he's like, I took off my boots because I was ready. I was ready to leave this legacy behind. I'm a Hall of Famer and everything, but you guys, I didn't like that you guys were beating up my boys. But the most that you pissed me off that you destroyed my boots, so I had to come back, and it won't be the ass man Billy Gunn at all. It's gonna be a badass coming at you, Billy Gunn. So it's gonna be Billy Gunn, the Acclaim versus House of Black, which will be a really good match because it's been building for a while. I think it's gonna be for the Trios title, and maybe the Acclaim will win because the Acclaim is so over. I love it. After that was the main event was the Ring of Honor Tag Champs Aussie Open versus the Hardy Boys. It was just pretty much putting over the Aussie Open for All In. So when they faced MJF and Adam Cole, so the Hardys, it was a decent match. It wasn't a super long match, but Aussie Open ended up winning fair. I thought maybe there might have been, they might cheat or something, so because it's the Hardys, but nope. They won fair and square, but the Hardys pretty much put them over. But after the match was what added more. Adam Cole and MJF came out, got in the faces of Aussie Open, turned into a brawl. They tried to do the kangaroo kick, it didn't work, and then Aussie Open ended up getting out of the ring, and then, but first, they had one of the guys from Aussie Open, MJF was holding him, and Adam Cole went to go do a kick, and the guy moved, but and he almost kicked MJF. MJF caught the boot and just stared at him. Then threw his boot, got in his face, grabbed the title, raised his title in his face, and then shoulder hit him. But then he went to go put the ring on to hit him, but he ended up putting it away and hugging it out. I have no idea who's going to end up turning on him because earlier in the show, they both had promos. MJF was all sweet and everything, saying how Adam Cole has changed him so much. He's a better man and everything. But Adam Cole's like raging in there. They don't have any problems in the friendship. They're all fine. Even though they're like not, but the raging from Adam Cole was like so unexpected. So I'm like, I don't know who's going to turn on them because they both have like hinted it. It's going to be so interesting. Stay tuned for my all-in predictions. Should be dropping Friday or Saturday. This is JRW. Make sure to like, subscribe, stay tuned for more wrestling figure content. I'll see you guys in the next one.